Aldous.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. I will do my best to do that. It's a pleasure to follow the Honourable Lady, the member for Newport East, and I congratulate the members for my honourable friend from Southend West and the Honourable Lady from East Dunbartonshire for their maiden speeches. Mr Deputy Speaker, I'd like to also pay tribute to my predecessor as MP for Waveney, Bob Blizzard, who sadly passed away at the end of last week. Bob was a formidable political opponent. He held passionate beliefs, and he was a staunch advocate for Waveney. My condolences are with his family and friends at this sad time. Mr Deputy Speaker, this Queen's speech has been delivered against one of the most challenging backdrops in the past century. War in Europe, following quickly on from the COVID-19 pandemic, has exacerbated the challenges that people and businesses were already facing. Soaring energy and food prices, rising interest rates and slowing economic growth are putting enormous pressure on budgets, both family and business. The programme for government for the next session cannot on its own address all the challenges that we will face over the next 2 years, but there must be a clear statement of intent and a decisive direction of travel. There is a need to focus on the issues that matter to people on a daily basis. The cost of living, the ability to pay one's bills without spiralling into debt, and the opportunity to have a well-paid and secure job with good prospects of career progression. We don't know what lies ahead in these increasingly uncertain times, and thus it is important that the government are flexible, and where there is a need to bring in measures to address a particular pressing need, they must do so without delay. I shall briefly highlight 4 issues. 2 are specifically covered in proposed bills, whilst 2 are not. First and foremost, the need to address the cost of living crisis. Yes, the government have brought in some measures to help support families and businesses, but more targeted assistance is required to enable people to get through this coming year, which many are facing with fear and trepidation, with the expectation of inflation at 10% and Ofgem's increase in the energy cap looming in the autumn. In Suffolk, 135,000 people are already living in poverty. A survey in the Lowestoft Journal shows that 41% of people are in debt, and Citizens Advice, local councils and local charities are already working in overdrive, assisting, advising and supporting people. Poverty among pensioners needs a particular focus due to prevailing high inflation, with the state pension and both defined benefit and defined contribution private pensions all exposed. There may well be a need for review and reform, and I would urge the government to not hold back in introducing such measures. Secondly, it is vital that the opportunity is there right around the UK for people to secure a good job with good prospects for career advancement and with the opportunity to realise their full potential. The Schools Bill and the Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill should help secure this ambition. Suffolk has for a long time received a poor education funding settlement, and we must use this opportunity to address this inequality. There must also be a particular focus on improving both early years and SEN education, and whilst the Skills and Post-16 Education Act that went through in the last session provides the framework for improving the further education sector, it does remain poorly funded for the vitally important role that it plays in preparing people for the workplace, helping improve the UK's overall economic performance and eliminating the productivity gap. There may well be a need for fiscal support to encourage businesses to invest in people and skills, and last week the Learning and Work Institute recommended that smaller businesses should be able to deduct 230% of the cost of accredited training from their tax liability. Turning to the long-awaited Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill, I acknowledge the enormous amount of work that my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, and my honourable friend, the Minister, the Member for Harborough, have carried out in a relatively short period since their appointments in September, in laying the groundwork in the White Paper, which was published at the beginning of this February. I urge them not to forget coastal communities, which all around the UK, including in Waveney and Lowestoft, are in so many respects the forgotten powerhouse of the UK economy. They have a vital role to play in powering the nation as we embrace renewable energy, in feeding the nation through sustainable and responsible stewardship of our fisheries, promoting global trade through our network of ports, both large and small, and also in providing holidays at home rather than abroad. Thirdly, energy, Mr. Deputy Speaker. The Energy Act of 2013 was good legislation which played an important role in promoting renewable energy, particularly offshore wind, in which the UK is now a world leader. There is a temptation to leave well alone a regulatory framework which has worked well. However, we do have new challenges that must be tackled, particularly if we are to meet the 2050 net zero target. Therefore, it is right to now build on the foundations that were laid 9 years ago. I briefly highlight some of the challenges that we need to address. We must promote and incentivise further investment on the UK continental shelf, adding to last year's North Sea transition deal, so as to ensure that this unique UK asset continues to play a lead role in powering the nation, generating rewarding and well-paid jobs, and ensuring a smooth transition to a net zero energy supply. A windfall tax would jeopardise this work, though there is a need for the major oil and gas companies to do more, following the good work of many innovative and smaller businesses. With regard to offshore wind, we need a framework that builds on the success of the last decade and which promotes investment in interconnectors and battery storage so as to absorb surplus wind, as well as facilitating the development of a modern onshore transmission network. Nuclear power is very much part of the government's energy strategy, and the Nuclear Energy Financing Act, which was passed in the last session, provides the framework for Sizewell C to proceed if the development consent order is issued. This is an enormous national infrastructure project, Mr. Deputy Speaker, located close to my own constituency, which can play a vital role in levelling up and regenerating local economies, providing jobs during construction, and leaving a legacy of skills that brings lasting benefits to places like Lowestoft and Waveney. EDF are committed to this strategy, but it is vital that national government provide the framework that ensures that they deliver these benefits, working with local businesses, local colleges, local charities and local councils. Hydrogen is the new kid on the block, which presents boundless opportunities, though even at this stage we do not quite know either what precise direction it will take or the full scale of what it can deliver. Whilst the hydrogen strategy was only published last August, there is an urgent need for a route map if it is to realise its full potential. Community energy has an important role to play, and we must remove those regulatory obstacles that prevent local communities from promoting their own projects. An area of energy policy where we have not succeeded in recent years is the promotion of energy saving, retrofitting our homes and business premises. The Green Deal did not work, and the Green Homes grant scheme was too low in ambition and lacked the capacity to have a significant impact. In the short term, so as to address the challenge of fuel poverty, we should look at extending the Warm Homes discount, the home upgrade scheme and the energy company obligation. The government must also produce a scheme that will deliver meaningful and significant enhancement of our whole building stock. This will probably require fiscal incentives, and local government will have an important role to play in overseeing and ensuring workforce planning, training and then delivery. Finally, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we need to revamp the strategy for the rollout of smart meters, which I'm afraid really has stalled. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the fourth and final issue that I will raise is the NHS. Whilst there is no bill that directly addresses our health service, and one might argue there is not a need for one, as we've only recently finished debating the Health and Care Bill, which has just received royal assent, this is a subject that is of critical importance and concern to our constituents. People are worried that they are not able to see their doctor. The government needs to work with GPs to address this concern. NHS dentistry is the #1 item in my inbox. There are dental deserts all around the country, and urgent attention is required if these are not to merge into one area of Sahara proportions. There is a backlog of operations, many of them time critical, that needs to be significantly and immediately reduced. My right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, is very much aware of these challenges, and regardless of whether or not there is specific legislation, they must be given the highest priority and attention. Mr Deputy Speaker, in conclusion, there is a great deal to do and there are great many challenges to confront, the like of which we have not seen during our lifetimes. We can get through this crisis, and the government do need to have in mind the need to bring together a nation that has been divided first by Brexit and then by COVID. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gareth Thomas.